The following program is the work of the broadcast students of the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT Magazine, container truck drivers in BC are heading to the picket lines.
The BC Cancer Agency announces a breakthrough drug to fight prostate cancer.
And a new study says Vancouver is the safest city for Canadian cyclists. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Lindsay Howe.
And I'm Shaquille Majuri. Truckers across the Lower Mainland are grabbing picketing signs this week as they look for a collective agreement they believe is long overdue. Reporter Tim Brooke has more on the ongoing clash between drivers and their employers.
Container truck drivers have officially walked off the job as they search for a new agreement with two companies they believe owe them retroactive pay. Employees of Unifor took to the streets of Delta today, hoping to put pressure on HarbourLink and Port Transport to settle a labor dispute ongoing since last year.
Nobody's above the law, not these container trucking companies, not anyone, and so they need to pay it and get on with it. And we'll be out here as long as it takes until we get a fair contract.
The two companies have declined comments, but a press release says they intend to continue negotiating with the union. Though these 90 workers only officially left the job at 6 a.m. this morning, they've been working for 18 months without an agreement, a fact that they say should help them in the bargaining process.
They haven't yet got the memo that it's time to start treating truck drivers fairly, pay them the money that they're owed, and sign the pattern agreement that we now have in place.
6 other container trucking companies reached agreements over the weekend, meaning over 75% of Unifor workers are now contracted until 2019. Tim Brooke in Delta for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Tim Brooke joins us now. Tim, have there been any new developments?
Not as of yet. Both sides have issued statements saying they hope they can reach an agreement soon, but the negotiating process has been ongoing since last summer, so it'll be interesting to see how long this actually does take to play itself out.
You mentioned in your story that other container truck companies have already reached agreements with Unifor. Can you tell us any more?
Yeah, so there's 6 other container truck companies that represent almost 80% of drivers in the province, and they've already inked a new deal. So needless to say, this work stoppage could be a little bit more complicated than it already is. The only 2 holdouts here are Port Transport and HarbourLink, and the only reason they've yet to put pen to paper is because of a dispute regarding retroactive pay, something the other 6 companies didn't seem to have as large of an issue with. Back to you guys.
The BC Cancer Agency, along with UBC, have announced researchers are entering human clinical trials for a groundbreaking drug to fight prostate cancer. Sergio Vargas reports.
What these firsts are. Our breakthrough was identifying a new and extremely important drug target for advanced prostate cancer.
BC Cancer Agency said they don't have a cure, but have found a new weapon to fight prostate cancer.
When the other drugs fail, our drug offers hope to succeed in treating what these firsts are. Our breakthrough was identifying a new and extremely important drug target for advanced prostate cancer.
BC Cancer Agency said they don't have a cure, but have found a new weapon to fight prostate cancer.
When the other drugs fail, our drug offers hope to succeed in treating advanced prostate cancer.
Researchers worked for over a decade on the drug, dubbed EPI 506, a drug that lab research suggests will slow the growth of tumors. Created in collaboration between BC Cancer Agency and UBC, the drug targets a specific protein in the disease called the N-terminal domain. By doing so, EPI 506, which is mainly sourced from marine sponge extract, is set to target the engine of the tumor that causes the cancer to grow by making the protein sensitive to hormones like testosterone.
Make light, and then we looked for which one of our drugs turned off the light. and pretty simple test.
Dollars, which Sadar stresses were key to their success.
For 16 years, there's been a group of men at Country Meadows Senior Men's Golf Club that have worked every day in those 16 years to raise dollars to support this research.
These golfers raised over $1 million for the cause.
And the club thought that was a great idea, and so we started supporting Dr. Sadar, and fortunately the arrangement was that the money goes directly to Dr. Sadar's equipment and research, and so we got a big bang for our buck, you might say.
The next step is phase 1 of human clinical testing for EPI 506 that started this week across North America. As for the BC Cancer Agency team, it's going to be a weird transition after such a long process.
I'm actually thinking, now what am I going to do?
Sergio Vargas in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A new study by the Pembina Institute has declared Vancouver the safest city in Canada for cycling. Our reporter Conley Mostert has the story.
It may be a cold December day, but that hasn't stopped these Vancouverites from doing what they do, and that's ride their bicycles.
I don't worry about traffic. It's a great stress reliever.
It's a nice way for me to get exercise and not have to take time out of my schedule. It actually saves me time.
It's cheaper and it's quicker.
And now, they may have another reason to continue their pedaling hobby. The report released this week by the Pembina Institute says Vancouver has the densest network of cycling infrastructure, the lowest crash rate, and the highest number of bike rides of any city in Canada. In fact, there is less than one crash reported for every 100,000 cycling trips. However, the executive director of Hub Cycling says these numbers really aren't that surprising, and it's a large reason why she cycles today.
Vancouver's a great place to cycle. I do it year-round, and the city's put a lot of investment in recently to make the cycling network more connected and more convenient and safe for people. So I can understand why people in other communities that don't have a connected cycling network don't get on their bikes as much, and they don't get to see those benefits that I get to see every day because of that.
Regardless, whether it's convenience, safety, or time, cyclists in Vancouver will continue to cycle and, hopefully, cycle safely. Conley Mostert in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine, BCIT keeps students living on campus busy during the holidays.
And a local synagogue raises money for a Syrian family.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program's offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT broadcast and online journalism, realizing your potential.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news.
Today on BCIT Magazine, striking.
Make magic on a movie set.
Frame.
And action.
Or bring your creative ideas to life. BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT television and video production. Your possibilities start here.
Welcome back. The provincial government and the police were reminding everyone to think before they drink this holiday season. As Kurt Morgan reports, not everyone is getting that message.
It likely won't be a very Merry Christmas for this driver, and it's a scene that happens far too often on British Columbian roads during the holiday season. This week, government officials are teaming up with local police to launch drinking and driving counterattack road checks.
Starting today, as it does every year, Counterattack is asking British Columbians to take responsibility when getting into their vehicles. Do not drink and drive. Choose a designated driver, call a cab, stay overnight.
Currently, BC has the strictest drinking and driving laws in the country, and according to Minister Anton, they are paying dividends.
We've seen a 52% reduction in drinking and driving accidents alone in the past 5 years. That's 260 people in the past 5 years whose lives have been saved, who are still with us today, and will be spending these holidays with their loved ones.
If you plan to drink and you're celebrating the season, just don't drive. It's that simple. Because bad choices last forever, you do not want to be awakened in the middle of the night by a doorbell and a uniformed police officer telling you that your loved one is dead, or that they've been killed or injured by someone else because of a reckless, senseless, and very preventable act.
Luckily, this is just a demonstration, and the owner of this vehicle gets to drive home. Should you make a questionable decision this season, the police will be waiting. Kerr Morgan in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Spending time with family during the holidays can provide stress relief after exams. But for some BCIT students, the trip home might not be possible. Our reporter Matt Paget spoke to BCIT Student Services to find out what they're doing to help.
This isn't your local massage parlor. No, it's actually in BCIT, and one of the ways students can improve their mental health during exam season. But what happens when classes end and students living in residence don't go home for the holidays?
Students always have access to a resource that's called My Wellness. It's for any BCIT student, and they can find that through our website as well. And it's basically like a central free resource with mental health information on campus and off campus, hotlines, mental health games, all those kind of things.
But it isn't the only option. BCIT's Recreation Center will be open for those looking to shoot some hoops, and the health clinic will have a counselor ready to go one-on-one with those who need it. Residence advisor Sarah Lando will be working as well. She wants to help make this holiday a happy one.
They may not have a place to go for Christmas, for example, if they're international students, because they don't want to go all the way back to, say, like Italy or Africa during the break. So what we do is we definitely encourage them to kind of get together and have a Christmas dinner.
However, some students living on campus aren't fazed by the holiday blues.
Well, you know, there's definitely those good old Christmas carols. Been a big fan of those. I've already started listening to them big and early for like a month now. It's all good.
I guess it's just what you make of it. I think it'll be fine. It's a nice atmosphere.
The Canadian so far has been very friendly, so it's not hard to get a friend here.
Matt Paget in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
BCIT is helping out those in need this Christmas season by participating in their annual Gift of Choice campaign. With us now is Hannah Beeler, the Health and Wellness Coordinator of the BCIT Student Association. Hannah, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
So what can you tell me about Gift of Choice?
So Gift of Choice is an annual campaign that the BCIT Student Association coordinates, but we wouldn't be able to do this campaign without all of the BCIT donors that we connect with. So basically we're given 25 families from financial aid that are from students who their need was unmet financially, and then we connect them with a BCIT donor or department, and then they create a nice a gift hamper or package for that family. It's a really great campaign every year. I love doing it.
Do you know of any other schools or student associations doing something similar?
I'm not too familiar with many, but I do know that Douglas College does a really great one, and I actually reached out to them when I was taking over the campaign. We also do other drives here, like the Marketing Club is doing a clothing drive for the Covenant House, which is for homeless youth on the downtown east side. So yeah, lots of things going on around the holidays for donating.
Now, do the students and families benefiting from this have any connection with the school?
The main connection is that they are a student of BCIT, and being a student and trying to support a family at the same time is extremely difficult. So we try to help where we can, imagining if we were in that position.
What would you say are some of the basic needs for the families that are being sponsored?
I think some of the items that I see mostly are probably, clothing, rain jackets and boots, but then we also kind of separate the wish list into needs and wishes. So people will tell us the things they really need, and then it's also nice to see some of the wishes they'd like bicycles and fun things for the kids like that. So we try to give them a little bit of both sides.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Hannah. We appreciate you taking the time.
No worries.
The Burnaby Christmas Bureau helps low-income parents provide their children with holiday gifts each year. But this time, the Bureau is also giving toys to incoming Syrian refugees. My co-anchor Lindsay Howe has the story.
With Christmas coming, many parents find themselves hitting the malls to try and find the perfect gifts for their children. But not all parents have the money to buy their kids gifts this holiday season. That's where the Burnaby Christmas Bureau steps in.
We're a local charity that supports low-income families and isolated seniors, and at Christmas time we reach out to the community requesting donations of toys and cash donations that we then use to support the community.
This year, the Bureau is planning to also donate toys to the children of Syrian refugees who settle in Burnaby.
We'll be inviting them in to get gifts as well as some other items that they might need when they first settle, and then also connect them to different services that are in the community.
The Bureau is offering these donations despite the fact that not all of the refugees will celebrate Christmas.
I believe what the Christmas Bureau is doing is not encouraging anybody to celebrate Christmas, but it's a gesture of goodwill to these children that have gone through things that you and I can't imagine.
The Bureau is still looking for toys, wrapping supplies, books, and cash donations, all of which can be brought to 7252 Kingsway Avenue in Burnaby. Lindsay Howe in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. A synagogue in Vancouver has raised over $40,000 in donations to sponsor a family of Syrian refugees. Taryn Parmar has more. Please be warned, the following contains graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised.
8-year-old Alan Kurdi washed up on the beaches of Turkey garnered attention worldwide. Rabbi Dan Moskowitz was inspired by this and wanted to help the refugees that are expected to come to the Lower Mainland.
Being a rabbi of a congregation, I gave a sermon on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish year, where I talked about that photo and how it reminded me of my own young children. Those little feet that you see in that picture, they should be splashing through waves and running in and out of the surf and not laying lifeless on a beach.
Rabbi Moskowitz asked for members of the temple to donate money and clothing to the near 2,700 refugees expected in the Lower Mainland.
My congregation has come out in tremendous support of this cause. We've raised the $40,000 we estimate it'll take to settle a family of 4 here in Vancouver.
And other synagogues have been raising funds as well. Rabbi Jonathan Infeld of Beth Israel in Vancouver says that it is their moral obligation to help those in need.
I think that helping people in need is very important, and certainly, as Jews, there have been times in our history in which we've been refugees and understand that there are and empathize with people in great need at the moment.
The rabbis are hoping that other groups will lend a hand to the refugees.
I think there's really a feeling that this is our moral responsibility as Jews who've been refugees throughout our entire history as a people, to see ourselves in the lives of others.
Taryn Parmar in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Taryn Parmar joins us now. Taryn, can you tell us about the incoming refugees and how these donations are helping?
Lindsay, these donations were definitely needed as the first few planefuls of refugees will be arriving by next week. Now, the plan from here is to bring 10,000 refugees into the country by the end of this month and then another 15,000 by March. So everything that's donated, it really will be making a world of difference for those in need.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a documentary based on the Vancouver Aquarium is causing a splash.
And a new recording studio aims to give young musicians an affordable space.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
I'm Colin Balzer.
And I'm Alexia Molina, and this is your community calendar. Experience the magic of Clara and her Nutcracker in the holiday classic, The Nutcracker. The Go Ballet brings a myriad of internationally renowned dancers to the center in Vancouver on December 17th, and the show runs until the 22nd. Tickets can be purchased through Ticketmaster.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Neither do I. But you don't have to talk German to come on down to the Vancouver Christmas Market on George and Hamilton Streets. You'll find homemade gift items for the family this Christmas, in addition to local food vendors for a taste of the European cuisine. I've heard the Flammenkuchen is exceptionally gut.
Now in its 22nd year, the annual Winter Solstice Lantern Festival takes off on December 21st. The event illuminates the longest night of the year with lanterns, music, and dancing. To find the lighting nearest you, visit www.secretlantern.org.
Welcome back. One Vancouver filmmaker seems to be rocking the boat on the subject of whales in captivity. Katie Johnson has more.
Gary Charbonneau is the director of Vancouver Aquarium Uncovered, a controversial documentary against whales in captivity. A lot of his opinions were formed after he attended a public meeting.
And I was quite shocked at what I heard, and I knew that something wasn't right. And a lot of the speakers and the associates of the aquarium who were speaking on behalf of captivity didn't bring forward any meaningful information to show that these animals should be there.
For Charbonneau, it's all about the money, not about the whales. The Vancouver Aquarium declined to comment on this story, referring instead to a statement on the company's website. They claim whales in captivity are a valuable educational tool and vital to the survival of whales in the wild.
I think they do have their place for conservation efforts, yes. But I think there's a big difference between somewhere that is blatantly for entertainment and one that is for education and rehabilitation and has a much greater focus on conservation.
The film will be officially released sometime next year.
We're hoping to educate the public, and we're not trying to close the aquarium. If the aquarium is operated properly, it can actually be a conservation center with education and research. But right now, it's being conducted as a corporation.
Charbonneau plans to continue to appeal to fellow animal lovers, hoping to make waves about whales in captivity. Katie Johnson in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Social media has become an increasingly popular source for news, and the Surrey RCMP are using it to their advantage. Reagan Hasegawa explains.
Well, I'm hoping to let people know that crime occurs when you don't take some basic precautions.
This is no ordinary Mountie. Corporal Crisp is Surrey RCMP's latest Twitter personality. Crisp specializes in winter safety using tweets.
The feedback that we've received from this type of messaging has been very positive. I think people appreciate seeing the other side of police that they don't normally get to see, the humorous, quirky, or human side.
Surrey RCMP currently has more than 10,000 followers on Twitter. However, not everyone is a fan of the new cop character.
It's not the most appealing image, to be honest with you.
I'm definitely taken by the comedy aspect of it. I think that's pretty cool.
I'm going to hook up onto this Twitter because of this Corporal Chris. It sounds like a good little thing for tips and such.
It's a good way to reach the young kids because they're always on Twitter, but cops should literally lay off the Twitter and Facebook and actually start doing their job properly.
Well, I disagree. The messaging is proactive in the sense that we're trying to prevent offenses from occurring. We don't want people to have their cars stolen in the morning. And that's part of the function of the police department, is to ensure that that type of messaging gets out.
Despite the naysayers, RCMP are seeing results.
Since the inception in early November, we've seen, I believe it's 400 more Twitter likes, and we've had approximately 350 Facebook likes as well.
But is the corporal's popularity just a trend?
It can be a trend, but again, every trend that produces results, positive results, if they, based on their numbers, they see that they have a lot of followers and will be able to reduce the amount of phone calls, reduce the amount of resources dedicated to this type of issues, they will continue to develop a plan.
Crisp doesn't have his own Twitter handle yet, but you can find him on the Surrey RCMP Twitter.
I just want the people of Surrey to be safe and secure, and I'm hoping by getting out a few of these messages that I'll protect them in some little way.
Reagan Hasegawa in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
West Vancouver's only commercial recording studio opened this year. As my co-anchor Shaquille Majuri found out, the space hopes to give young artists an affordable means to make music.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be
Amy Williams is a local 16-year-old singer-songwriter. Finding space to produce an album can be difficult. Space is scarce and studio time is expensive, especially for young artists looking to take their first steps.
I was kind of like in a place where I wanted to do something more with my music besides performing and doing like open mics and stuff like that.
Four Destination Studios is the first and only commercial studio in West Vancouver. It provides studio time, creative direction, and music lessons to artists new to the process.
In July or June or something, we started making pop music, which I really enjoy. I tell him what all the chords are. We figure out what the tempo is. Then he just like plays piano for it, and I do my vocals. And then afterwards, we build off of that.
Founder Liam Sturgis says the studio was built to give artists like himself a space to work. He still sees the process as a learning experience for everyone.
Behind Four Destinations, way at the beginning, was to get musicians together to teach each other and to learn from each other. So now, moving into the more professional atmosphere, we've maintained that attitude of we can all learn something from each other.
Well, I'm around a lot more musicians, and it's incredibly inspiring to see like how much young people can accomplish.
So when she started, she had kind of the bare bones of songs. She was singing over the chords she was playing, and now she's starting to realize what her capabilities are as a musician, and she's gaining a lot of confidence.
The duo are working hard on Amy's first album. The label is planning several community events to spotlight young artists. Shaquille Majuri in West Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. Legendary Frank Sinatra will be honored at an All-Star Grammy concert on December 12th. The My Way crooner died in 1998 at the age of 82. He would have turned 100 the day of the concert.
If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. I'm Lindsay Howe.
And I'm Shaquille Majuri. Thanks for joining us on today's BCIT Magazine. We leave you now with an evening look at the Burnaby Village Museum's Christmas display.